Hello and much love to anyone that clicked on the video. For those that don't know me, my name is Lightenhearts, and today I have a guide for none other than the newest character to be added to the Under Knife and Birth 2 roster, UZUKI. This character, man, made me addicted to Under Knife and Birth more ways than one. I've been labbing this character like a mad scientist since her release, so I figured, you know what, why keep all the dirty tech and secrets that I found with this character? Why not share it with the community so y'all could do the same degenerate shit that I was doing when I was finding people in casual matches? So in this guide, I'm basically going to be covering her normals, her overall special moves, give y'all a small little overview of the character in general, and probably some tips and tricks that y'all can utilize, as well as Oki and combos that I came up with. I'm giving you all that in this video. So if you like it, make sure you hit the like button. Comment down below on how you feel about UZUKI in general. Do you like her? Do you hate her? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you really like my content, make sure you subscribe to my channel. But ladies and gentlemen, I've been holding y'all up long enough. Let's actually talk about the newest character in Under Knife and Birth 2, UZUKI. Let's get into it. Okay, so UZUKI basically in this part of the video is kind of the Faust of Under Knife and Birth, except if you get rid of the RNG that Faust has and give him more long-reaching pokes, this is basically UZUKI. She literally is a long-range fighter with a lot of tricks up her sleeve with 2FF, a lot of gimmicks with her 214, and good amount of pokes and projectiles with her 236A and her 22B. UZUKI is literally a very unique fighter. I will go as far as to say she is probably one of the most complicated characters in Under Knife and Birth. But don't worry, since you're watching this guide, I'm going to break her down to her most simplistic form, so you don't have to bust your brain as much as I did when I started labbing her. So let me start talking about her normals. Okay, let's talk about UZUKI's normals. I'm gonna start off with her A normals. UZUKI actually has a really good 5A and a really good 2A. Even though they lack in range, she has essentially a 6 frame, which is really good for a character with the amount of range that she has on the other normals. So her having a 6 frame 2A and a 5A is really good. If you want a 4A, she can do this about four times. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you do it fast, if you delay it, I think it's about 3. Yep. If you if you're doing rapid successions, about 4 hits. I think 2A is the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So she has a pretty good 5A and 2A. Let me talk about her C normals now. Her 5C and her 2C can actually hit your opponent at round start. So as soon as you load up the match, you can actually connect with your opponent's character with 2C or 5C. If you really want to be a degenerate, you can do 5C into 22B for a combo. And you could do 2C into 236A for a combo. So if people don't know this, round start, you can actually go like legit for a conversion as soon as the match starts. So 5C and 2C are really good in terms of range. The only problem with these normals is that they have a good amount of recovery. I'm not gonna lie, even though 5C has great range, the recovery is dog shit. So please be mindful. Same thing can be said with 2C, even though I think it's it recovers slightly faster than 5C, but I could be wrong. Another problem that 5C has is that it does not have an upwards hitbox. So let me showcase this for y'all now. This basically means that if an opponent knows the matchup and he knows you're gonna throw out 5C round starts, he can literally jump over you and anti-air your shit. So let me showcase this for y'all right now. Let me put high to record. Simple jump normal. Alright, so literally 5C does not have an upwards hitbox, ladies and gentlemen. So please be mindful. If your opponent does a simple J normal, you are actually going to get punished for it. But round start, you can go for 2C into 236A to get a combo. and 5C into 2-2B to get a conversion. So this is really good in case people don't know. Her other normals that she has is her B normals. 5B is really good. I think on block is -4, which is not bad at all. It means that she essentially can't get punished for throwing out this move. I think close range, it hits a lot more. It's like a 2-hitting 5B, which is really nice. Her 2B close range is -9, which means it's punishable if you don't rebeat it into anything else. So you see, you can actually get punished if you don't cancel it. But I think it has a pretty delay window or cancel window. Let me see if I can delay it. Yeah, it has a pretty decent cancel window. I wouldn't say it's the best, but you can legit like delay it into 2C. But yeah, if you space out correctly, obviously you can't get punished. It's a good poke move. But 2B is not a low, ladies and gentlemen. This is legit not a low. A low is her 2C. So this is a good poke, but it's not a low whatsoever. UZUKI's main anti-air options is her 3C as well as her 4C. And this is obviously can link into each other if you land or you start with a 3C. Her 4C charge is her overhead, which is really good, but it's -13 on block. But depending on the spacing, you really can't get punished, and you can special cancel, so you can ultimately leave this safe. So fully charged 4C is her overhead, and 3C is probably your go-to anti-air in terms of players assaulting at you. So if a player assaults at you, you will opt more for 3C rather than 4C. 4C is probably more for jump attempts from far range, but 3C is mainly used when an opponent assaults at you. Now, the other normals I really want to talk about is 6C and J2C. These are also good for pressure if you want to cancel it into anything else. So you can kind of confuse your opponent a little bit. It's -7, so please be mindful. This is also punishable if you don't cancel into anything. I think the same can be said with J. Actually, no, I think J2C is safe, but it could be punishable depending on certain characters. But these moves, 6C and J2C, these are probably your go-to bread and butter moves. So if you manage to land 2C or 2B into 2C, you can legit converge it off of 6C and go for a combo. These are legit your bread and butter moves. This is probably the most you're gonna use in terms of combos. 6C is basically your best friend. Could be good, or you can utilize this in block strings too, but like I said, if you're not linking into anything else, it's pretty punishable. So it's a pretty decent move, but this is mainly for combo conversions. Now let's talk about her J normals. Ladies and gentlemen, UZUKI actually has a pretty fucked up JB. This can actually hit your opponent from behind. So let me put recovery on so I don't kill hide. JB is like your go-to cross-up move. Even though this game has cross-up protection, you can do this to overall confuse your opponent. JC has a good amount of active frames. It's pretty active actually. This is probably your go-to air-to-air conversions. So if you do something like 214B, B follow-up, you literally converge it off of JC. And JC, you can literally cancel with any other normal, obviously. But she has some pretty good J normals, man. Like I said, JB crosses up. JA is basically used to bait out shielding, so you can actually get the grid break. So really good on that department. Is there anything else I'm missing in terms of her normals? Her dash C and her dash B. Her dash B honestly is probably your go-to move in terms of neutral. I think this is probably the dumbest dash B normal in the entire game because it has a good amount of range. I think it hits way further than Hyde's dash C, but I could be wrong. Let me see. Yep. So this hits almost about the same range as Hyde's dash C, so this is a pretty good get in tool to stop people from doing what they want to do in the neutral. Even though dash B doesn't necessarily have a good upwards hitbox, I feel like players can jump over this. Let me put Hyde to jump. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, it has one, but it's not really that good. I don't think you can get a consistent combo off of it. Yeah, so it's kind of awkward in a sense, but that's why we utilize dash C. Dash C has an upwards hitbox. You see? Let me see if I can catch Hyde at the tip of his jump. Dash C actually has more of an upper hitbox than dash B. And the great thing about dash C is that you can actually link it into dash B for a full combo. Let me see if I can showcase this. What can I do here? Yeah, I could probably do like 5B into 3C. So for the people that don't know, your dash C can actually get linked into dash B to keep things simple. Put Hyde to stop jumping. You can get a full combo. So that is pretty good. But I think that's it for her normals in general. All I want y'all to take away from this is that at round start, you get 5C into 2C, or 2C or 5C, whatever one you go for. But be careful because these normals don't have an upwards hitbox. Your go-to anti-air options at close range is your 3C. And for far range, or you want to stop opponent from jumping in at you, you will opt more for 4C. And this is her overhead. And what else am I forgetting? And her JB can actually cross up opponents. So this is a pretty good normal. And J5C or JC has a ton of fucking active range. So that's it for her normals. She has pretty good normals, if I'm to say that honestly. Okay, let's talk about UZUKI's special moves. This is arguably going to be one of the most complicated segments in this guide because there's a lot that I have to explain when it comes to her special moves because she's such a unique character in of herself. But I'm gonna try to break it down as easy as I can. Right? Basically, UZUKI has 4 special moves, which is the coffins, the skeleton, the projectile, and her 2-2B. Right? But the most I'm going to be talking about is her coffin, because this coffin is basically what you're going to be doing 90% of the time when you're fighting people, right? The coffin has variations, which is 214 for people that don't know. You have your 214A, which is your grounded coffin, your 214B, which is kind of like a further reaching coffin, and your 214C, which is the farthest coffin you can throw out in neutral, right? These coffins have variations, which is the A variation, which is 4A, which is a low. And for the people that don't know, if you actually hit someone with this in neutral, you can get a combo by doing dash B. So utilize this as a poking tool. So it's not necessarily bad for you to use 214A variation or A follow-up to kind of pressure your opponent. And plus, it's safe. It's only -7. Since it's -7 and also it's a range attack, people are not realistically going to punish you for utilizing this move unless you're like right here. But again, that's really situational. So please utilize this as a spacing tool. So like I mentioned, 214A vol variation, you get a combo with dash B, but it's also space dependent too. You dash B, you can literally get a full conversion, right? The same can be said with the B variation of the B follow-up, which is 214 4B. You get a full combo and it does this jump follow-up. This is arguably the one move you're gonna utilize for UZUKI in terms of combo rounds. Every time you get a hit, 214 into 4B follow-up. This is literally her bread and butter. This move right here. So if you hit someone with 6B, 214B all the time. Or 214A into B follow-up every single time. If you get hit with if you confirm it with 2C, 2B into 2C, like I mentioned with the 6 normal, the 6C normal, you just want to hit confirm with 214B. Literally go for your combo. So people, her 214B is literally the best way for you to start combos for anyone that's really confused on how you can actually go for optimal shit with this character. And also 214B follow-up is her anti-air option in case people want to jump in at you. So let me show you this right now. Let's say Hive jumps at me, right? Let me wait for him to actually ding. One more time. You see? This is her anti-air option. So if you feel like someone's gonna jump in at you, 214B is a valid anti-air option for you to stop opponents from approaching you. And like I said, since it's her combo starter, you literally you get a good amount of combo damage just basically confirming that anti-air, right? So pretty good. Now this is the thing that I don't see a lot of UZUKI players using in general, which is her 4C follow-up, which is her plus frame moves. Mind you, her 214C variation is kind of ass because it has a lot of startup, is very situational. But the thing that I want to really stress with y'all is that her 214B C variation is where you're gonna utilize this move the most. I cannot stress that enough. So people, 214B is basically your further, like this is basically used for poking in the mid screen. And like I said with the variation, the same rule applies for the A version of her 214. It also goes into 214B. 214B variation is her anti-air option. But instead of the A version being a low, like 214A variation follow-up is a low, this is not. This is gapless. So if you do something like dash B into 214B A follow-up, this is gapless because the C version is actually where you're going to utilize your plus frames, right? As you can see in front of my screen or your screen, this is plus 16 on block. So you can go in with dash B, which is a 10 frame. You could probably go in with 5C, which is a 13 frame. So this is how you continue your pressure. Doing 214B, it's a 4C follow-up. You can do 5C into 2C and literally pressure your opponent at this range, right? So please be mindful of the spacing. And also, since 214C follow-up has a good amount of startup, people can creeping edge it, people can jump over it. So you really have to condition your opponent before you actually utilize this move so you can get rewarded the plus frames. Let me showcase this for y'all right now. So if I do 214, they can literally creeping edge it. If they I think if they assault 2, they can literally get out of it. So please, you have to condition people with 214A variation because it's legit gapless. They actually have to hold it, and if you want to keep it, you can do something like 22C. So please be mindful, right? Now, this is the important thing where 214 variation in general is that if you press 4D, you can actually mount onto it. Now, this is probably going to be the biggest thing in terms of how you're going to navigate her in terms of her neutral. I cannot stress that enough, because if you do 214C into 4D, she literally mounts right on top of it. And the same rules apply. If you do the V variation, it's an anti-air. If you do not that, which is a grab. I'm gonna explain that in a sec. If you do the C variation, it's plus on block, and if you do the A variation, like I mentioned, like I said, it comes out faster than the C variation for you to actually go for some pretty decent mixes overall Oki. So what I don't see a lot of UZUKI players doing in general is that once you get mounted on the coffin, you can actually jump cancel. So she actually has like high-low mix-up options if I'm being honest, right? So let's say for example, let me get Hyde off assault. Let's say for example, right? Hyde is in the corner, you successfully got yourself mounted on a coffin. You can literally press A follow-up and literally jump cancel as soon after. But you don't necessarily have to go for the variations or the follow-up offer coffins. You can literally do it as soon as you jump or as soon as you utilize these moves, right? So her 214 A, pretty good because now you can go for a special and legit jump. The mountain coffin gives her a lot of unique variations for going for more pressure. Now, this is, like I said, this whole segment is going to be talking about her 214 because this is literally the whole character's neutral game plan. So the other specials I'm going to talk about, but I really want to laser focus on this because this is probably arguably the most important move in her arsenal. So let's talk about doing J214A, right? People, I want you to realize that when you do J214A, she automatically gets mounted for her to do her follow-ups, right? But please be careful that if you literally jump on top of people, you can legit get punished for it. So you legit have to space this out to where this move is not going to jump on top of people, right? So let me showcase this for y'all now. So I'll do like something like assault forward, umbrella. Actually, no. Let me do it one more time. I'll be like right here, go for the low variation, jump, and literally punish him because now the opponent thinks that he's able to punish me because the move just seems vulnerable in of itself, right? So please, when you're utilizing J214, you have to space it out. You don't want to directly fall on top of people because it's punishable. Now, when you have Vorpal, it's a different story. I think when you utilize Vorpal, you can actually go for a lot of unique scenarios. So let me put myself to get Vorpal. Now you can make it safe, right? So if you have Vorpal, this becomes a good option. Let me see. Right? So you can jump on people when you have Vorpal and probably go for a grab. Let me see. Yep, and you see, he legit gets counter hit if he's still trying to press a button. So depending on how much you delay it, you can literally like, what's the word? You can literally counter him, right, for more damage. So just be mindful of that. You can jump on people if you have Vorpal. If you press a button, you get like a counter hit grab, which is really good. Now, let me talk about her mounting coffins with 214B and 214C. 214B mounting coffin or J214B mounting coffin literally puts her right in front of where she started, right? Slightly forward. Now, mind you, when you're mounted on the coffin, the hide legit can't hit you out of it. Like, the coffin in of itself does not have a hitbox or a hurt box. Your opponent legit has to anti-air you, right? As you can see, it even goes through certain projectiles. So this is a good way of you kind of evading normal, I guess, grounded hits. But mind you, they can anti-air you. So when you're on the mountain coffin, realistically what you want to be doing is mountain coffin. You go for whatever variation of the coffin y'all deem necessary, and y'all jump down as soon as to go for pressure. So you would do J214B, a follow-up, fall down, and literally come in with a J normal to continue your pressure. And mind you, this is probably the number one thing you're going to utilize for Oki as well. Alright, cool. Now, let me talk about her, I guess I didn't mention this also with her 214, which is the grab variation. So let me see if I can showcase this, right? She also has a grab within her 214, which has a pretty good amount of range. This does about 2,000 damage, even though it says 1,963. I'm going to round it up around 2,000. This does way more damage than her regular grab, as you can see. Only does 1,685. So pretty cool. If you condition your opponent well enough, you can kind of sneak this in. But be mindful, it has a good amount of startup. And since people, once they know the matchup, they can pretty much have time to anti-air you if they have a proper read on you. Now, those are probably a lot of things that I can discuss with her 214 in general, because this part of the video is going to be extremely long, but I want to get all this information out to y'all so y'all understand why this is probably the most important special move in her kit. 214C, like I said, or if I mentioned, it just puts her a lot back or further back. So if you go for, like, let's say glide, she literally jumps back. 214B, she's in the same position. And 214A, she kind of falls down with the coffin for variations or for different follow-ups, right? But every rule applies with 214. Her 214A is a low. 214B variation is your combo starter as well as your bread and butter. And 214C follow-up, or yeah, the C follow-up is your plus frame moves. So condition people with this in order to continue your pressure, and then mix up any other shit if you feel like your opponent is probably peeping your movements, and so on and so forth. This character is extremely complicated. Now, going off of her 214 special, let's actually talk about her other specials. I know this part took mad long, but please bear with me. This information is worthwhile. So, let's talk about her J236A. Her J236A is your primary, it's kind of her projectile, if I'm gonna say it like that. This move is really good for keeping your opponents out, and once you land the move, you see the skull that's highlighted underneath UZUKI's health bar, it basically glows. I don't know if this is true because I've been trying my best to research what a Vorpal trait is. I think once you get this effect on your character or your opponent's character, they basically lose grid. I don't know how true that is, so anyone that really knows the information, please comment it down below. But overall, this is a great keep out tool. So if you feel like someone is trying to jump at you with like an assault, let me record. This is a good way of actually stopping it, and of course, you get a full conversion with 22B. And you can literally go for whatever combo star you can think of, but the most consistent is J236A into 22B. If you land a hit, always go for 22B because that's the most consistent conversion that she can probably do, right? So let me just show this one more time. 236A into 22B, you get a full consistent combo. And she also has another follow-up, which is J236B. If you land this move, you can actually confirm with dash B and go for another full conversion. The best thing about UZUKI in terms of her special moves is that she's kind of indirectly like Yuzu, to where she gets consistent conversions and you can actually set people up. Like, she always gets Oki or some sort of mix up every time she goes for a combo, so that's really good with her. Her C variation is actually plus on block. It's plus 17 on block. So a lot of players, or for people that are still watching this part of the video, what you can do is, which is the skeleton, which is a grounded 236A, you can do grounded 236A into 236C. or J236C for plus frames, which is plus 17. Like I said, you can go in with like a dash B. You can probably space it out with 5C since it's a 13 frame, so it's pretty good. So like I mentioned, this is probably your best way of keeping someone out. Or if you think someone's gonna jump at you, you do TK236A. And for people that don't know what TK means, it's basically an instant air special, basically. So learn how to do this if you really want to be an optimal UZUKI player, right? So the grounded, just to reiterate, the A version, you get a full combo if you follow up with 22B, and the ground version, the B version, you get a full combo if you do dash G, as well as I think dash B and dash C don't matter. So probably dash B into dash C and legit get a full conversion, which is nice. Now, let me talk about a little bit of the skeleton. I forgot to mention this. My UZUKI players, if you don't know a proper way of actually staying safe with her, 236A is probably your go-to move, because as you can see, it's only -3. This move is actually pretty fucking goated for people that haven't seen it or haven't utilized it as much. The A version can actually give you a full combo too. So if you do like 2B into 2C, you can get a full combo. And mind you, since it's safe, you can literally abuse the fuck out of this. And again, like I just showcased to y'all, if you want to keep up your pressure, J236C for more plus frames, which is nice. Now the B version is an actual overhead, which is which you kind of have to space out, is really specific, but let me see if I can showcase this for y'all right now. Crouching, vulnerable guard. You see, it's a legit overhead, but the spacing is really, really specific, right? I forgot to mention this too. I'm probably gonna add this in also. If you hold her 214B, she actually has another follow-up or another overhead. So if you charge her 214, these are legit overheads as well, and you can get a full combo with dash B. I forgot to mention that with her coffin, but her coffin in of herself has a lot of uniqueness with it, so my fault that I forgot to mention that. What else that I forgot to mention? Oh yeah, the C version of her skeleton, or grounded C version of the Dino Ride, is her only true reversal that she has. So UZUKI players that are watching this still, please be mindful that this character has dog shit defensive options. She has to rely on a lot of the system mechanics, so if you actually get yourself into the corner, you legit have to hold shit in this game. I cannot stress that enough. But if you win the Vorpal cycle, 236C is probably your only one option of you actually getting your opponent off you. So let me let High go for a simple combo or a simple string. Give it one more time. So legit, I know I didn't showcase it as good as I can, but this is literally the only way you can get your opponent off you. And on block is actually punishable. So please be careful. It's not plus, it's -26. So people can legit punish your dumb ass if you utilize it in retarded ways. But this is our only real reversal that she has. You legit have to block with this character, so please be mindful. And I guess the last thing I can talk about is her 22A and her 22B. 22A and 22B are kind of like your space out tools too, kind of to sneak it in neutral. 22B is her further reaching one. 22A is close range, but please be mindful that you don't necessarily want to do 22A in close range because it's -8. People can legit punish you for it depending on the spacing. Let me showcase this for y'all right now. So if you do 22A around this range, it's legit punishable. So please be mindful that 22A is only really utilized for combos. 22B is your further reaching poke, but again, it's still situational because you got 214B and 214C. And since you can, like I mentioned, you can go for follow-ups, I'd rather you do this than go for 22B. But since 22B has a natural, it's a natural combo starter, so if people are not aware of 22B, let me showcase this for y'all right now. You can legit get a combo. So if you land 22B wherever you are in the screen, you can legit just confirm it into 5B and go for whatever combo route that y'all choose for, or that you choose from. Her 22C is plus on block. I think it's plus 17. Oh no, plus 34. Excuse me. So this move is extremely good. Basically can keep your pressure up. So if you do something like charge 4C, you can do 22C. If you do Dino, you can probably go for like 5C into 22C. And this is something I also want to mention too, just as a little special thing that I found out with this character. If you actually utilize the bomb, which is like 2FF, and you do 22C, the bomb literally rolls with it. So let me showcase this one more time. If you have the bomb and you do 22C, it actually carries the bomb to your opponent's character. So utilize this for even more plus frames. As you can see, it's like plus 63. Let me showcase this for y'all one more time. Bomb, 22C. Now it's plus, and now you're even more plus because the bomb in of itself is another plus frame move. So that's another special thing I found out with it. So if you have the bomb active, just utilize 22C, which is, like I said, really good. But I think that's all I can really mention with her special normals. I know this part of the video is going to be extremely long, but I didn't want to leave out any sort of information regarding her specials. So hopefully this was helpful information for y'all. But now I'm going to make another long segment, which is her force function. So stay tuned. Let me talk about this right now. Okay, now I'm going to talk about UZUKI's force function. This section is probably going to be long as fuck too, because there is a lot of unique interactions that you can do with UZUKI's force function, right? She has the most utility out of her force function that I've seen out of any character in Honor Knife and Birth, and arguably she has the most abilities within her force function, period, right? Let me talk about well, she basically has three, right? So she has the glide, she has the puddle mode, and she has her 2FF, which is a series of 3 items that she constantly throw out. Like I mentioned in the intro, you can kind of think of her like Faust from Guilty Gear Strive, except that she doesn't have her RNG like that character does, because every time you do 2FF, you always get the same amount of items. There's only 3 items she has, which is the bottle, the grenade that you just seen, and the minion that literally tracks you full screen for plus frames. As you can see, it's plus 33. Now, the most I want to talk about first is the puddle mode. People, the puddle, I want y'all to think of these 3 moves in terms of what they do, right? The glide is basically meant for you to kind of bait out your opponent for whiffing, and you kind of whiff punishing with J214, or seeing how your opponent wants to approach you for you to react. Let's say 214B or 214C, and set up your pressure or anti-zone, whatever your opponent wants to do, or however your opponent wants to get in on you, if that makes sense, right? The puddle goes through a lot of shit like projectiles. But the one thing I don't see players utilizing with the puddle is the fact that you can special cancel to get out of this mode. So once you're in the puddle mode, you don't have to wait to actually get out of it for you to do a special normal or a special move. You can literally do it while you're in the puddle mode. So literally, if high throws, let's say down B plus C, and you're in puddle mode, you can literally anti-zone him, right? But you legit can't do it like early, because if you do it early, you might get like hit, because as soon as she gets out, you get hit. So you legit have to wait for the projectile to pass your body for you to anti-zone. Let me see if I can showcase this. Right? You can do whatever special moves. You can do 22B. You can do 236A. And you can do 236C. So people, when you're in the puddle mode, you can special cancel to get out of it and overall anti-zone at your opponent. She is literally a better anti-zoner than Chaos, because now since she's fully projectile invincible and she can actually move around and navigate herself to position to where she can actually zone combat zoning, she's really fucking good. Another thing that I don't see a lot of UZUKI players doing is the fact that you can actually jump out of this puddle mode. And since her jump out of puddle mode is a lot higher than you regularly assaulting, right? Like, I want y'all to look at this. When you jump over with Uzaki's puddle, let me put him in the stand. It's way higher than it is if you just normally assault. So I want y'all to legit pay attention to this. And the best thing that I forgot to mention with her J normals is the fact that her JB can actually cross up your opponent. So if you jump, you can do JB to actually hit behind your opponent's character. So this is the one thing that you will utilize for mix-ups. So you will go for something like this, go behind your opponent. You can either special cancel out of it, you can either jump out and go for a JB to cross your opponent up. She has pretty fucked up mix-ups with the puddle mode, and you don't necessarily have to jump forward. You can jump up, you can jump backwards, you can do all sorts of shit with this. And if you really want to be a sweaty player, you can jump up, go for 214 to set up your thing. You can jump up, glide back, go for a projectile. Like, she has a lot of beautiful ways of navigating neutral, so please utilize this, right? I forgot to also mention with the puddle mode is the fact that the puddle mode does not get hit with DPs. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard me correct. It does not get hit with regular DPs. I'm gonna showcase this for y'all now. Right? So, if you do something like dash B and you go into puddle, you legit don't get hit with Hyde's DP. But the interesting thing about it is that if he spends meter, you actually get body. So, you see, regular DPs don't hit Uzuki out her puddle mode. The player actually has to spend meter to actually get you out of that mode, or out of that puddle shit, right? So if he EX DP, he actually gets you out of it. So a tip that I want to leave y'all with, if you're in the puddle mode, if you're trying to go for mix-up or you're trying to evade DPs in general, please be aware of your opponent's meter. Because realistically, the only thing that they can hit you out of it is them spending meter for them to hit you out of the puddle mode, right? Another thing, ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't hit Uzagi out of the puddle is grabs. This is the only character that I can think of where grabs don't connect. So let me showcase this for y'all now. As you can see, right? Let me showcase this one more time. You see, the grab doesn't hit her or doesn't grab her out her puddle mode. So what did we just establish? You can't hit her. You can't hit her with regular DPs. Let me showcase this again. You can't hit with regular DPs. You can't grab her out of it. Do this one more time. You can't grab her out of it. The only thing that can get her out her puddle mode is unfortunately lows or any sort of normals, right? Let me showcase this for y'all right now. Hold on. Actually, how do I showcase this? Well, basically, normal hits basically gets her out of her puddle mode. But this is really good because it's an important reason on why she has the bomb gimmick. So if y'all can actually put 2 and 2 together, y'all realize what French Bread wants y'all to do when piloting this character, right? So now that I had an extensive amount of information to give y'all regarding the puddle mode, it doesn't hit UZUKI doesn't get hit with grabs or DPs. They have to commit to spending meter. Veiloff also hits her out the puddle mode too, but the main reason why normal hit her out the puddle mode is because French Bread wants you to utilize the grenade as a setup. So let me showcase this for y'all right now. Alright, so let's say for example you have the grenade out, you go for dash B and high mashes on you, right? Let's say he goes for like, let's say 2A. Put him in the corner again. I throw the grenade, puddle. Now you see the grenade is still active after he hits me. And mind you, high can't grab you out the puddle mode, so he has to commit to a normal. So this basically layers your pressure. If you have the grenade on top of people and you're in puddle mode, he has to legit hit you with a normal, or if he has a meter, he has to waste it. If you are aware of the meter, now you can space yourself in a position to where that shit is not going to matter. So French Bread really wants you to do is just set up your pressure with grenade and basically go in with the puddle. And since you can jump cancel for more mix-ups, and since the grenade in of itself is plus, there is a lot of fucked up situations that you can utilize for your opponent to indirectly kill himself for. So this character has a ton of fucked up shit. What else do I want to leave y'all with? I think that's all I have for her in terms of her FF. She's literally the Faust of this game, but she doesn't have the RNG bullshit. Utilize her puddle mode to anti-zone if people are throwing projectiles at you. The grenade is a good way of covering yourself in puddle, because now if they decide to hit you, the grenade is still active. And what else? And her glide is basically for you to kind of see how your opponent is in terms of them wanting to hit you. So this is a great way of kind of like analyzing your opponent. You can assault, glide back. You can do 2-1-4, glide back. So the glide is a great way of you navigating neutral. The next part, I'm gonna basically talk about combos and Oki. So hope y'all look forward to that. Segment, I'm going to be talking about her Oki and overall combos that y'all should be utilizing when playing this character. Azuki's Oki is actually relatively simple. This is all I want to leave y'all with. I'm not going to make it overly complicated. She basically has two options. You either go for COFFIN Oki or you go for a force function. Depending on which one you value more, if you value coverage, you will opt for going for her 2FF Oki way more, because it covers you and you can go for more ambiguous shit you normally wouldn't have if you didn't have like a bomb or a minion backing you up. If you want to go for regular Oki as well as mix-ups, you will go for the COFFIN setup. Now, this is all I want to leave y'all with. If your opponent is in the corner, you will legit do J214C. J214C is good because it puts you in a position to where you can actually react to a lot of the, I guess, situations or a lot of the moves that opponent would normally hit you out of or hit back at you to take back his turn or regain his momentum in a match. So let me showcase this for y'all right now. Let's say you get a hit confirm off of 2C. You will literally do J214C into C follow-up. This is her primary Oki setup. Legit. It's not that complicated. You do J236C into C follow-up, because it has a delayed startup, and since someone's about to wake up, they legit have to hold that option. So this is what your Oki should look like, and this is what you can do in terms after you set it up. So let me showcase this for y'all right now. And now you can jump forward and actually go for, let's say, a assault, a low. You can assault again. UZUKI has some pretty fucked up Oki and overall mix on top of it, so there's a lot of unique interactions that you can put on your opponent to keep him constantly guessing. So let me show this for y'all one more time. You can go literally jump down into a 2C. You can literally jump forward to go for a falling jumping normal. Or you can jump back into 5C. Or you can jump back into 2-2B. Let me show this for y'all one more time. You see? Please, people, for y'all watching this part of the video in terms of our Oki, UZUKI has a lot of ways of keeping you guessing on the defensive end. She has a really, really fucked up mix. So all I just want to leave y'all with in terms of the coffin setup is that if you're in the corner, do J214C all the time, like legit. Let me show this one more time. If I can actually get it. There we go. You do J214C into C follow up, and you legit either jump down to go for 2C. You do C follow up into jump forward for an overhead. And if you really want to play safe, oh my god, why isn't this coming out? Let me do this one more time. And if you really want to play safe, you can back jump into 5C or 2-2B. So please be mindful that she has a lot of good ways of pressuring people in terms of her Oki with her coffin. Now, the other Oki option that I think I mentioned or I forgot to mention is her 2FF. Let me explain this now. Her 2FF, like I mentioned, is basically utilized for coverage. The best thing you want to do if you're trying to opt for coverage with her 2FF is you want to get rid of the bottle as quick as possible. I'm just going to say this. We don't care for the bottle. We care about the grenade and the minion. Once the bottle's out the way, now you can actually go for some setups. Let me tell you that, right? So this is a good way of you guaranteeing yourself with getting Oki with her 2FF. Let me showcase this for y'all now. Now, if you end it with J236B, you have enough time to actually throw out your 2FF. So this is pretty good. Now, mind you, if y'all watch the other segment when I was talking about her force function in general, once you add in the puddle and you actually have the grenade on top of you, you can go for some pretty fucked up mix in of itself. Let me showcase this for y'all right now. And like I mentioned, with her puddle, you can legit do a special out of it too. So if you really want to be plus, let me get the bottle out the way. You can do something like this. Like legit, you can go for some pretty fucked up scenarios with this character. So basically, in terms of her 2FF Oki, if you want to end your combo with J236B, you're almost guaranteed a setup with your 2FF. Basically, you just want to get the bottle out as quick as possible. So yeah, that's basically her Oki with her 2FF. If you end it with J236B, you can legit go for a 2FF scenario. Her Oki in mid screen, same rule applies. Basically, you would do J236B rather than J236C, because if you do J236C, you're too far for you to really go for anything and players can backdash. So you would do something like J236B, C follow up, fall down, and you can legit sandwich people. So let me show this for y'all one more time. And you see, you actually get mixed, and then when you end it with 236A, same rule applies. I think I also mentioned this earlier, is that if you have the grenade too, and if you really want it to be pushed full screen, if you spend meter and utilize 22C, you can legit get the grenade to travel. And if you don't have meter with the grenade, you can legit do dash C into dash B, and the grenade follows you literally. So if you want the grenade to travel with you, dash C into dash B, and now you have some pretty good mid-screen presence with the grenade. So same rule applies. Let me showcase this for y'all now. You would do C follow-up, jump down to kind of go for like a sandwich situation. J236B, jump down to C. And if you think your opponent is going to creeping edge this option, you can also cover it also. So let me showcase this for y'all right now. So let me do it one more time. It's a specific timing, but if you know he's going to go for it, you can literally fuck him up for going for that option. So Uzuki's Oki is pretty messed up. I cannot deny it. So yeah, what else am I missing with this character? I didn't mention her grab as much. If you think your opponent is really patient, let me get him off a creeping edge, and he's consistently falling for the scenarios, don't forget to grab people, man. You can legit sneak this in. And what's good about this also is that if you do this when you have the grenade, you actually get more damage. Let me see if I can showcase this for y'all now. Very situational. You see? You do about 3k damage if you actually have the grenade and you grab them. So she essentially gets almost combo damage if you actually set up the grenade properly and you can grab people. So be mindful of that too. I know it took me a while, but she is an overall complicated character in general. So hopefully this guy gave y'all a little bit of an insight on what you can do with her, and hopefully y'all come up with your own little Oki or tricks that y'all can share with the community overall. Is there anything else I want to leave y'all with before I end this video? I guess it's also well to mention this too. The same rule applies when you're doing her combo. So people, Uzuki's combos is not that complicated. Mainly what you want to do is the B follow-up, which is her combo routes. So once you legit go for COFFIN, you can follow it up with your another B. Like her COFFIN B follow-ups is basically her combo extension and conversions. So you can legit do her thing, jump back, and literally same rule applies. You can fall down with a J normal. You can fall down with a regular normal. So literally this combo that you're seeing right now is literally not that complicated. It's just 214B follow-up into 214B follow-up again. It's literally that. You jump back, and now you can set up whatever you want. Get the bottle out the way so you can actually go for some really degenerate shit. So that's basically it. Her combos is literally just the same. And I think it's also well to mention this too. If you manage to land someone with J236A or TK236A, always go for 22B. This is probably the easiest way of you converging off of this. And now, if you end it with J236B again, you can actually go for your FF setups. So mind you, let me show it one more time. And don't forget that when you're in puddle, you can legit special cancel out of it. So please be mindful. But yeah, that was my overall guide for Uzuki. I know this shit is probably a hot minute. It's a long ass video, but there's so much information and so much things I found out with this character that I want y'all to legit just know, so y'all don't have to do the labbing yourselves. So hopefully this guy was good for y'all to listen to, and overall hopefully y'all got a different perspective on this character as a whole. My name is Lightning Hearts. I've been playing Uni 2 or Uni in general for a long time. So if you really like the video, leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel if you really like my content. But stay tuned until the next one, and I hope y'all have an amazing day. Peace out.